Welcome back for our late night update. Yes, it has been a while and I haven't been live in a while to do the twin flame joint connection. So I have been delayed over the last week, and I usually try and channel these messages ahead of time, but time has not permitted. So the cards have been selected for the twin flame joint connection. And I thought to myself, I could have recorded it and really just released it, but I might as well just be here because we're doing it today. So I will come live and we will do this together. Yes, usually I do have the banners up on the screen, which I may link to the page. Or the video rather. I might just, add them should I need to articulate further or give you some reference points. And we have selected a ruin cast. So welcome for those of you that haven't seen me in God knows how long. It has been a while and I haven't really done an evening session in a while. So, hi Jan, how you doing, Dale? Okay, so we are entering into a Venus retrograde soon. And we did just move through the Capricorn moon. We do have both Neptune and Saturn retrograde, which I'm telling you is very psychic at the moment. And it's we can have some distortions coming through. We can have, let's get into the cards. Number one is I do feel inside the joint connection. I feel spiritually this is a huge change. And I do think this could do a bit of a number on divine feminine, only because to a personal degree we may be reviewing and reevaluating our value systems. I'm getting there, Yarn. I'm plodding through. What's coming up in the joint connection at the moment for the crowning energy? We have the Five of Swords. Okay, so there's almost like this pause, this wondering what we're fighting for. Tuning into it from a spiritual point of view, and it's like this recovery mode. When are we moving into recovery? When can we move beyond the veil that is so thick and heavy? And when are we going to get some clarity in this? Now, I did select a ruin cast, and I also got two cards. Now, for your crowning energies, which I do have back on the banners, we do have two. Okay. I might see if, I don't think I could. Will it let me? No, it won't. Okay, so basically we have these. Now we have Tracker and the Wounded Healer. The ruin cast we have has come in reverse. Oh no, it's in the upright. I'll tune into that in a moment. But when we come down to these, what I am thinking is in the joint connection, we do have a circumstance at the moment where we're trying to get back on track and we're trying to move beyond the wound, to have faith in the process. But particularly there could be some subjects where these emotions are running pretty thick. I do feel at the moment, it's almost this worry that we're going to run into hurdles or obstacles, even though the current energy of what we're going through at a personal, spiritual level could very much be that space where, how would I put it? You've been in the gunk of it for a while and you're like, please, no more, please, no more. And then now I'm seeing there could be some information. I feel that many of you in the joint connection are spiritually trying to look for some sense of guidance. You're also not wanting to go in circles, but I kind of feel you're turning this corner, and through this corner, you're hoping that, spiritually speaking, the healing that you've done on yourself, it's going to open things up to be a lot better. Now, the ruin cast, as I placed it up on the screen, before I get into the channel messages of the joint connection, it is in reverse. Okay, it links to victory, honor, justice, law, balance, self-sacrifice, and righteousness. Esoteric meaning, equilibrium, selflessness, and spiritual purity. Reversed. Now let's put the ruin cast in our minds as we're looking at the crowning energies. Paralysis, lack of commitment, and impotency. Now it's really what I was getting is it's almost because we do have these wounds, because we have had some really hectic energy astrologically over the last, I would say, 4 months, even though technically it can go all the way back to 2012 and 2002. What I spiritually am seeing here is it's almost like at an intuitive level, I do believe divine feminine and masculine are well aware of wounds. are well aware of where we got ourselves to in our lives and really needing to take a pause at this point in time to say, okay, where to from here? So there could be a lackluster, and especially because we have Saturn retrograde in Pisces and Neptune. For some of you, what you are going to experience is a lack of motivation. You know, Neptune being the dream, it's 12th house. It can be memories, it can be flashbacks, it can be self-fulfilling prophecies, because we're sort of saying to ourselves, have I been delusional? What am I doing? Especially when we get really critical on our healing process. Okay, it promises victory in a sense of justice being done. It calls upon us to be honourable, courageous and loyal to whatever cause we are involved in, even if it involves a degree of self-sacrifice. Such qualities are found by connecting with that inner moral core, developing the backbone necessary to commit ourselves to complete it. Reverse suggests impotency and paralysis, suggesting a lack of commitment. No matter how much enthusiasm you might have, in principle, a failure to take action will weaken you. So, you know, it was really interesting because through a lot of the coaching sessions I had, you know, the one very loud and clear dynamic I have had coming through with the Twin Flame Collective, and especially with breakups, is sometimes Divine Feminine may be feeling, you know, sometimes we can feel the closure is going to come through from another person. And closure doesn't mean a situation's over. Closure is more, gee, you know, I really didn't get to speak my piece. I really didn't get to articulate how I felt to do with the circumstance. Regardless if that person is in a connection or you know, ghosted you, if there is an opportunity for you to maybe write it down, to burn it and cast it to the wind, it is that self-expression that causes a lot of healing. And so ultimately speaking, when you do such, be it your text messaging, emailing, you know, addressing the elephant in the room if you are in communication with this individual, and really being the most authentic version of who you are, what it is doing is giving you your power back, but it's also going to change the whole vibration of things so that you can usher a new chapter in with this individual. Okay, so what advice do they have? Let's have a look. I think it's asking us to still have the integrity. I do feel Divine Feminine is wanting justice. I definitely feel this ruin cast can link to Crow. Crow is very psychic. Crow is almost connected to this realm and the other. It's also to do with death and rebirth. And we did just have the previous Scorpio eclipse. We also had the moon in Capricorn, which was very Pluto in nature. And it's almost like we're shedding skin. So we're through the serpent rising, we directly are transforming into this new version. And usually when you're having a soul walk and it sort of feels very foreign, you tend to feel almost like something's over, it doesn't resonate with you, but we're really shedding. Some of us also are going to get to a space where we're really wanting to hold on to the way things were because it feels very natural, safe, and a common vibration over, oh my goodness, I'm being the full card in tarot and I'm jumping in the deep end. This does link to the constellation Libra and also the planet Mars. And Mars currently is in the house of Leo. So there is a bit of a bugbear with that situation at the moment. Nevertheless, let's get into the channel messages of what I see coming through for the twin flame. Collective for the joint connection. I do feel ultimately the last few moon phases have really caused a lot of issues. I do feel we aren't really tapping into our emotions at the moment. You know, we've got the moon card. It's in the past tense position. There could have been a circumstance surrounding family. For some of you, there could have been some information that came through from these individuals. It might have been a conflict in the past. It may have been that it was karmics that was an issue. For some, it could have been karmics that were parents. But for some reason, I'm feeling now it's tribe. It's a whole different subject. That could be because we have the moon axis between Cancer and Capricorn. But I'm really feeling a lot of the dramas are maybe coming from lineage. This can be family. This could be family, home, accommodation, where we directly are. And I've almost been shown that the roles have swapped. So whatever you previously went through, you're getting a 101 of what they've gone through. And so it feels like a role reversal here, and there's a little bit of a swap. I do feel there's a rebirth here and there's a new chapter. And I feel if you're holding your integrity, you're directly just going to attract it. And it doesn't mean to say it's going to feel super easy. I do feel there's this return to tradition, and the return to tradition could be, really wanting to get married or really wanting to have something quite traditional. But you're guided to, whatever you're moving towards in a sense of a goal, especially with your twin flame path. They're directly recommending that you go into it with temperance. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't feel slow means no. That's what they're saying. Also know that if it is going slow, it could be at your own pace. You're directly wanting it. Some of you more so are feeling you really want a more traditional connection with your twin. Some of you could really be wagering whether that is even possible. I do feel some of you are going to actually get gossip through the grapevine. Depending on your circumstance, this can actually be hearing that suddenly they're single. I'm definitely feeling at the moment they are very heavily thinking on divine feminine, and this is more in the traditional route. They could be actually communicating. Those of you that are communicating with your twin at the moment, you may see a marked difference. There can be a lot of nostalgia. Some of you are going to really get a surprise of how much this individual has changed. Some of you could be coming across individuals and old circumstances. Okay, what are they showing me here? This could feel like a friendship group. This also could be a karmic. The person directly could be single, but there's definitely gossip coming through the grapevine. Some of you, if your twin has gone back into a karmic relationship, it's caused even more concern. If anything, you should look at it more on a positive side, especially at this point over the next 3 months, because it can really wrap up a cycle very quickly. So if, for instance, your twin directly came out of a connection and bounced back into one, this 3-month portal can be a time of healing and closing it. I do feel some of you are going to hear gossip that has no basis. This, especially for those of you that are in communication, you may be guided to be very careful what you say to this person, how much you share of what you heard. This could be individuals around them that are quite jealous. You need to go into your heart space and have faith in the circumstance. And unless you hear it from the horse's mouth, don't believe everything you hear. I do particularly feel there's a pocket group at the moment that are going through separations. I do feel there's a second group also that is already in communication and having movement. Some of you are feeling that it's very choppy, it's in and out. They are showing that divine masculine actually has changed quite significantly, but it is still causing you concerns. That could be due to the past. Again, I do see quite a significant statement being made on divine masculine side surrounding family and tribe. There could be this week some information that they do receive that's quite unsettling. They also feel away from you. It's quite difficult. If there has been a standoff, especially for those of you that haven't been in communication, I do feel there's something separate going on that you are not aware of. I do feel some are having nightmares. It's almost like nightmares that maybe they're not going to see you again, nightmares that maybe they'd lose you. It feels like hot sweats, waking up, having sweats and really stressed. They are directly wanting reunion. Okay, this is almost like, what if this happens? They're kind of in that Ten of Swords. What if this happens? They don't want to keep thinking about it. They have no question that they value you. But they definitely want this reunion. Where it does come to karmics, they're really resisting temptation. They also feel that what you're wanting is so much more. It's more the emotional, spiritual side of things they're wanting to offer, as well as other. Hi, sweet. Yeah, they're really coming down to this very, very traditional energy. Especially those that are actually in a karmic relationship at this point in time, they're really looking at it from a different viewpoint. I do feel, especially for those that potentially had children or they were in the circumstance, I very strongly get some of the belief systems and conditioning, especially in a very traditional sense. It kind of feels as though, because the pressure point and the vibration, they're kind of like saying sod tradition. And it sounds really, I don't want to be unsympathetic towards it because that's really not what's going on. If anything, it's a little bit like staying in a very toxic situation for a long time and realizing it was based on this is right for this person, this is right for that person. Meanwhile, their feelings have not been addressed. I very much feel they're kind of pushing that to the corner. It's like that no longer is enough of a reason to tolerate no change. And so it does feel for some what's crossing it is actually, leaving a circumstance is what they felt they had to do as a masculine. And they know now the only thing that's crossing it was that value system, that belief that was actually keeping them quite stuck. Some are really wanting to exit stage on those circumstances and really, would I say remove individuals? Yeah, I'll probably say remove individuals. They're really tired of thinking about it. They're really tired of this kind of vibration of this is what I have to do. This is where I have to be. Yeah, so it's no longer attractive towards them, especially because it's affecting their psyche. So they're more looking at what is going to be sustainable and what they can do. They just feel that they've got to pull the pin. It's like, look, are they upset that things didn't turn out in their life according to plan? Yes. Definitely having nightmares about divine feminine. Definitely feeling as though they're wanting to get back on track in their life. There was a lot of bitterness for a while that all these little hurdles and delays. And I remember in my ascension path, I was literally like, get over one pothole and there was another one. It was really weekly. And I do feel it's kind of a spiritual, it's a spiritual wake-up call. It's almost like that happens to us so that we realize that, we really at all times have to honor our soul. So it's almost like going against the grain. Is only going to cause us more angst. So when we know, we don't sweep things under the carpet. When we feel, we have to acknowledge it. There's a lot of honesty that comes with an awakening, especially because you do feel when you're not being, you do get a series of very unfortunate events. So I feel divine masculine, especially in the mix of their life, they're really feeling they're needing to, just cut things out that are very toxic for them. I do feel some of them are thinking, why have I battled so long? Now, the funny thing is, when we do move into their crowning energy, I'll go back to the boards. Masculine's crowning energy. We have prayer feather. Now, as I mentioned, Saturn and Neptune both are in their retrograde, very Pisces in nature. Sometimes we're stuck. Sometimes we knew where that path is and we knew where we were going. And for divine masculine, I do think they've had a big vision. Sometimes when they have that vision, it's like, I'm just going to keep digging till I get there. But sometimes we need to come back up for air. And so the transits directly help us do that so that we're not digging in the incorrect direction and believing that we're actually getting somewhere. And I do feel divine masculine at this point in time has chipped a big part away of what they needed to address. But there's a secondary boundary stage. And I think it's very positive that they're pausing. I think it's almost like, well, hang on a minute. How far have I come? What do I directly need to look at this point? Have I missed something? It's a little bit like not coming up for air. Have you ever painted and you're like, it's looking great, and you step back and you're like, oh crap, I missed that, or I overcompensated? So sometimes pausing can help us be real clear on what we're doing and how we're achieving it. Now, I do feel that with this, these visions in their life, these prayers that they're wanting, these hopes and dreams, I feel they're really matching with divine feminine. But they do. It's almost like the hero's journey, trying to have courage to move through their life. But I just get this very strong sense that they've had this revelation that there's an easier way to do something, and they have to be honest with themselves with these circumstances. Now, I do feel, they're really looking at the moment at what they need to leave behind. Is there some jealousy they could be feeling around divine feminine? It did come up in the joint connection, and I really feel as though, I can say that there are going to be some, even for those that are single, there are going to be some karmics that are going to pop up around this time. You could, in the joint connection, directly hear gossip about this. It doesn't mean they're reconciling. It can just be like one of those bad phone calls, like bad romance, and they're turning up, they're bumping into the person, and the person's having all these unresolved feelings. Sometimes it is like passing a karmic test. Others, if they are, they're attracting some very interesting sorts. There is this passion that they are really coming through with this week. And it could be bringing some insecurities up. But there's definitely a lot of passion. I do feel also, hi, Kerry, I do feel also there's a feeling, how would I put it? There's a feeling of jealousy. Let's pull a clarifier. What's going on here? This could be in relation to, where they're trying to go, what they're trying to achieve. I do feel they're very selective about who they tell people things to. So if they do have an idea, they're keeping the cards close to their chest. This can even be away from divine feminine. I do feel the karmics that were in their life were very jealous and insecure. This in their mind, they're also feeling if you are with somebody else, it is causing anxiety and jealousy. The green-eyed monster. This can be gossip getting through the grapevine of how you're doing. Yep, coming from a karmic. I do feel they've got two paths. One is psychological, one's physical. But, for some, it can just be that they're thinking of the past. For others, they're directly thinking, gee, I'm hearing information. It's triggering me. Why is this situation triggering me? What do I need to do to admit to myself my vision and quest of where I need to be? So sometimes it's like, in autopilot, bang, some information about you comes up. It triggers them. It triggers a karmic. And I do feel for some, it's almost like they've heard something about you at this point, especially for those of you that have not been talking. I do get they've heard some information. If they are in a karmic relationship, the karmic has also heard, and the karmic is jealous, the karmic is worried. For others, I just feel there's these old feelings, old unresolved feelings coming up, and there's a lot more chemistry that they directly are feeling towards you. Oh, thanks, sweet. Yeah, they kind of feel silly. They feel they can't lie to themselves, although they try to hold their cards close to their chest. They could be very focused on prosperity. Again, sometimes universe is sort of saying to them, okay, shift your focus. Where have you been focused? It might have been eat, pray, repeat. It might have been work, work, work. Now I kind of feel it's almost like a chain of events has occurred to help them see that they need to have so much more than just one thing. And it's almost like life is a pyramid. So, we need shelter, we need food, we need money for the situations, love, friendships, but it can't all be one subject. And I think they've been quite honed in. For some, I do feel it might have been that they have been worried about cash. For others, it may be that they're trying to hold on to it. There also could be some inheritances coming through. That's a very strong message that I'm getting in the joint connection. This could be on their side or the karmic side, but I feel more so it's on their side. I do feel some also are really wanting to move in towards you. I really feel overall those point blank zero that are in a karmic situation at this point, they're not having fun. Hi, Sway. They're not having fun. There's arguments, there's toxicity. There could be old contracts that are coming up surrounding karmics. This can be lease agreements, marriages, you name it, anything that was binding these two individuals at a point in life, be it they're together or not, it is coming back up for reassessment. It's almost like they're checking their pennies and seeing, what is actually going to be left after they do address these things and pay this karmic debt. What directly is going to be left so that they can actually have their rebuild. They also feel, due to this pressure, there is going to be a building of the sacral chakra, and I do directly feel it can be making them feel a little bit frustrated. Divine Feminine, your side of the read's very interesting. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you do go through a bit of the down frequency. Overall, you can have ups, and you can be in huge self-awareness. But there can be this feeling of, I'm trying to be patient. When are we going to get there? I'm being patient. But I think this is positive. I think, if anything, this patience you've already had, it's actually going to, it's going to aid you future tense. So you are going to get something out of it. For some of you, you also need to be more gentle on yourself and more patient with yourself, not so strict. They're actually asking you to focus on your dreams. They're asking you to tap back into belief in yourself, protecting yourself, psychic protection. But I do feel there's a very sudden event that is happening, and it may require you to be very mature. But I'm feeling that there is going to be an opportunity that is going to be presented to you, especially if it's external to your twin. I would pause for a couple of weeks, or put usually 24 to 48 hours. 9 times out of 10 within the week, you will have movement on the other side. It's not to say that you can't move forward with another individual. Venus retrograde is really a time to connect with old individuals, to work out whether it is workable. Even if you do feel during that time you're not having movement, it's not a negative thing. This can be a time where your twin directly is unpacking a previous situation from an emotional point of view. You also could be doing such. This also could be in relationship to him or the masculine, be it female or male. I do feel a lot of apprehension around Divine Feminine. It's almost like very superstitious. I get this very superstitious energy. You are very strongly assessing risks. You're in this risk assessment mode. You are protected, Divine Feminine. You need to trust that you are protected. But you're being very, very direct in your message to universe of what you're wanting. I do feel Divine Masculine is really quite focused on Divine Feminine. They're all also, could they be asking for patience? I feel so, but there's also a panic because some of you, from a spiritual point of view, feel as though you're kind of retracting back and holding some energy to yourself, and this is causing a little bit of angst for them. I don't know why I get there's a sudden event on its way. It's going to be quite surprising. This could be a statement piece. Yeah, something in the night. Your instincts are going to tell you. It's almost like it's going to affect your vibration. Many times we tend to say, especially in the coaching, is, not to answer 3 a.m. phone calls. You can still answer, just make sure that if that person is kind of taking you down this path, that it is going to be just happy hour, avoid it. But it's always, you know, even if it's just flicking a text and saying, sorry, I was in bed, are you okay? And if there's nothing then that is actually sent back to you in a text form, don't stress. But they are making reference to making sure that that individual is okay, but more so from a perspective, if you are directly getting communication or a person's turning up, it's asking you to be open with it. I think they're really saying you're going to have to trust your instincts with this and your intuition, but definitely tap into it. They're feeling quite blocked. They're very frustrated. They want to get back on their path. Like I said in the joint connection, they're really like having to pause and say to themselves, okay, how far have I come? What am I missing here? Why is this affecting me? Well, how do I need to get back on track? And they're really stopping. So it's like they're actually looking at the joint connection and saying, I'm very frustrated that we are not where I thought we would be. And they're now looking at it. They're going, okay, how can I achieve this? What can be done to get us back there? I think some of them, especially that have been in communication with you, it's almost like if you have explained to them what, how can I explain it? You know, what you like and what you don't like. They're taking that on board. They're digesting it and they're trying to implement that. So it's like they're trying to rebuild the foundation. Divine Feminine is very tired. You are more susceptible at the moment to psychic attacks. You also can get a lot of psychic downloads. I do feel a lot of you are addressing circumstances in your life. You're trying to change. This could be for some of you nutrition. This also could be dealing with something that's quite intellectual at the moment, even though a lot of the transits haven't really hit that zone yet. I do feel it's already playing out now, so it feels very logical. Very logical, very necessary brain function that you're trying to have to get things done. I also feel there can be a group of people around you that you directly are not trusting at this point in time. This could be at work. This could be in a group. This also could be via social media. There's hunches. Some of you can be feeling that somebody is stalking you. Some of you also can have very, very broken sleep. They're really making reference to clearing your homes very strongly. Those of you that are in communication are going to make a very bold statement. It could be a bit of pill for Divine Masculine to swallow, but I feel that you've reached that point. You're like, and it needs to be said. Okay, what will the outcome of that situation be, please? Whoops. You're worried about it, but it needs to be said. That's what they're saying. You know, not everything in life is bunnies and dolphins. Not everything is sugar. Sometimes there's hard conversations. We can do it in a grounded approach. It doesn't have to be nasty. I do feel some are going to show up with flowers. Some are actually showing up and there's a knocking at the door, and it's almost like, I don't know why they're showing me this, but it feels like they're actually saying to themselves, if this new meeting, reconnection goes well, they're actually picturing an engagement. I do feel there's a pocket group that are actually hiding how they feel. But it's nothing negative. It doesn't feel it's anything negative that they're hiding. It feels quite positive. Yeah. Some of them are really feeling that this connection with you goes way back, and that I feel beyond the here and now. So it's almost like this kind of feeling of, how do I explain it? Almost like they've known you in a past life. And, you know, usually you'd have the intuitive psychic energy really coming through with the chaser, the initial chaser of the connection. Divine masculine will always have a very different experience. It's not to say that they can't have similar things, but most commonly you will find that the empath energy, that was the chaser in the initial stage, is the one that is very heavy intuitive, almost like feeling like there was a past life connection. I feel at the moment divine masculine is actually feeling this. Yeah. I don't know why I just get divine feminines trying to be real rational, real, very realistic. It's almost like show me the money. I really get that strongly. Very interesting week for divine masculine. I do feel they're thinking of you. I do feel there's some crap going down with the karmic. I do feel also those that are already single, they're having somebody re-show up. It feels like an old situation that's going to be wrapped up. This can be counseling, could be court. It just feels something most official. I do. This karmic is this karmic's problematic. This karmic individual especially is using waterworks, almost trying to make divine masculine feel guilty to get what they want, even though they're very, very focused. They're actually noticing a pattern here. Every time they're choosing to move forward, it's almost like this person will re-show up. And it's right when they're having the courage to admit what they're wanting. I do feel divine masculine's just looking at it like, I'm not doing this again with you. I do feel this could be a bit of a showdown. There could be a pause in communication, especially for those of you that were in communication. Don't stress. I do feel they're going to come around, but I do feel something is going down in a showdown. I will see you next week. If you do want to book in, you can go to the link below. Otherwise, have a great week. Sorry for the delay, and I'll see you soon.